Fan with Chuck and Chernoff. We continue with the legend, the Hall of Famer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's got a documentary out, and we'll tell you how you can see it. It's On the Shoulders of Giants, the story of the greatest basketball team you've never heard of. Now, it's on video on demand now. DVD release is coming. Go on Kareem's website at KareemAbdulJabbar.com, and you can find out how you can pre-order the DVD to get your hands on it, because it looks like a fascinating piece. And before we move on to talk about your career, there are a couple of things that you learned, you said in this, that you had no idea, including, we talked to you about, we thought the Globetrotters were, the team in Harlem. We find out the Harlem Wrens are the team and the Globetrotters are from Chicago. There are a few guys that had to make tough choices of either to go play basketball or go do other things.
Right. The guy that really surprised me the most was Cab Calloway, famous band leader and everything. But in 1928, he tried out for and made the Globetrotters and had to make a decision if he was going to be the vocalist in his sister's band or if he was going to play professional basketball. So, of course, he made the right choice, but Cab was a lifetime basketball fan. I remember a lot of times when we would play in Oakland, he'd come in to sing the national anthem and enjoy the game.
I commented to you during the commercial break that the artwork associated with this project is fantastic, and you said, well, we had to do something. You said there's virtually no footage of the Wrens available.
We found 40 seconds of it. Some basketball maniac had 40 seconds of the Wrens in black and white, and it's the World Championship team. We were extremely lucky to get our hands on it, because other than that, there's no footage from those days of
Did it just deteriorated, or been thrown away, or taped over, or it just nobody ever thought to record it?
Well, the footage that we had was in fair shape, considering it's from 1939.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to the advent of the NBA, nobody photographed professional basketball games. If you look at the Ken Burns documentary, you'll see footage of Negro League players in the 1930s, but the other sports didn't get that kind of attention.
For you personally, take me back. UCLA, we all know the accomplishments when you get there. What was the recruitment of Kareem like? What was it like on a daily basis, and how much did you see from coaches and letters, and how many people were interested?
Well, this is a great story, because it was very easy for me, because when I was a sophomore, I made All-America. I started getting a lot of letters, and every 2 weeks I'd go into my coach's office and say, all right, well, let me see what letters I got. So at a certain point he said, look, we're going to take all these letters and we can just throw them in the trash. Any school that has a basketball program, you can go there if you want to. You don't have to. You don't have to deal with trying to see who wants you, who doesn't want you. Any school that has a basketball program wants you. So it made it very easy for me. The only thing that I couldn't do at that time was I couldn't play in the South. All the conferences in the South were still segregated at that time, so I had to cut that out. But other than that, the rest of the country, I could have gone to any school I wanted to go to.
Was anybody close besides UCLA, or was it just an easy decision for you at that point?
St. John's was close. Joe Lapchick was the coach. I knew him. I liked him. I know his son. His son and I are still friends. Richie, we're still friends. And University of Michigan, they had that great team with Cassie Russell. So I went and visited there. They had a really good program. But, I got to UCLA. It was still winter in New York. I got out there. There was palm trees. And,
I ain't never going home.
I didn't want to go back.
Now, it's interesting you bring up the point you said about the South, because we interviewed Artis Gilmore several years ago, and I'm a huge Artis Gilmore fan. Told you I didn't like you very much growing up because you used to block Artis Gilmore shots all the time. But I asked him, I was like, you're 7'4". What are you doing going to the University of Jacksonville? And he leaned down and he said, young man, how old are you? And I told him, he's like, I was born in 1967. He says, I didn't have choices when I was coming out of high school of where I was going to go to college like people have now. He said that I had to choose between the schools that would take me.
Oh, okay.
And you had a similar experience, or did you not even?
No, for me, I could have gone a lot of different places. Plus, I was academically in good shape, So I could have gone any number of places. So I just had to figure out what made the most sense.
And that was UCLA.
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the legend with Chuck and Chernoff. Again, the documentary is On the Shoulder of Giants, a story of the greatest basketball team you've never heard of. And I also asked you during the break, before you went to the NBA, you had options. I mean, not just the ABA, the Nets drafted you, but the Harlem Globetrotters offer you a big sum of money to go play there.
Yeah, they had a guy had $1 million check. He says, "We'll give you this. Just come and talk to us about coming and playing for the Globetrotters." And you know, I really wanted to graduate. I wanted to get my diploma. I'm the first person in my family to go to college, so it was an important issue for me to graduate from college and leave with my diploma.
So no regret over the ABA decision. The Nets, to you, the NBA was the place to be. The money was better. The career options were better.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the established league, they had longevity going for them, and they were more solid. The ABA looked to me like it was too much of a carnival there. You know, they in their attempt to gain attention, they kind of I don't know. It was just not the solid place that I wanted to play basketball.
So you score 38,000 points. You're part of Showtime. You do the impossible. You win a title in Milwaukee, and people remember Roger Murdoch.
That shows you how powerful show business is.
Now, were you a navigator or a co-pilot?
I was the co-pilot.
How dare you even ask him that question? I mean, I'm hurt that you, Kareem. I apologize.
So can you remember getting an offer for that role, and did you immediately say, "Heck yes, I'm in"?
Oh yeah, the guys, the brothers who produced that film, they're from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, and they'd seen me play for the Bucks, and they wanted to do a movie with me in it. You know, they had thought of this role, and they thought that was a funny scene that they had figured out. So it was pretty easy.
And it's one of those that as guys, we remember all movie lines. We still to this day, 30 years later, are still going through it. We played it yesterday for the fun of it. A couple more things off the basketball floor. The Hall of Famer Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with us, with Chuck and Chernoff. The Laker teams that you played for. A lot of times, whether it's in sports or in life, you know, we don't realize what we were a part of at the time. You kind of know it's big, but looking back, how special between Magic and Worthy and Byron and Pat and just the whole Showtime aspect. What was life like on a day-to-day basis on the road for the Lakers?
It was great, and I really appreciated what was happening because the first 10 years of my career were very tough. We won that one championship in Milwaukee, but got to Los Angeles, and we didn't have a team that was good enough to win. I was still the dominant player. I outplayed everybody at my position, made several All-Star teams, won the MVP, but I couldn't make us a world champion. It takes a great team. So when Magic shows up, and then the other people that showed up, James Worthy and people like that, Michael Cooper, I really appreciated the fact that we had the nucleus for a team that could dominate over a number of years.
Was there ever a conflict ego-wise? You know, we hear about, I mean, you're talking about some of the biggest stars in the history of this game. Was there ever any issue behind the scenes with anybody?
Not really.
Yeah.
We really had a good family thing going there. You know, we liked each other. We appreciated each other. For example, Magic appreciated the fact that if he got beat by those little quick guards, they weren't going to get all the way to the hoop and for a layup because I was back in his play. I really appreciated the fact that he delivered the ball exactly where I needed to have it with the least amount of duress. And, we appreciated what we did for each other on the court, and it made for a good family atmosphere.
Before we let you out of here, we have to ask you about your own health, because obviously in the news, you and leukemia, correct?
Yes, I have a CML, chronic myalgic leukemia, but it's under control. You're never 100% cancer-free, but I'm managing it. As long as I listen to the doctor, take my meds, and get my blood checked regularly, I'm going to stay around to annoy you guys for a little while.
No, we're okay with
So you can still skyhook for a little while, right?
The skyhook is in mothballs where it
Okay.
belongs.
All right. So no more skyhook.
Not for me, anyway.
Kareem, it's been a great pleasure. We know you've got to run again. The documentary looks fascinating. On the Shoulders of Giants, the story of one of the greatest basketball teams you never heard of. Again, KareemAbdul-Jabbar.com. You can pre-order the DVD and check your cable operator because it's on video on demand. It looks fantastic. We can't thank you enough for stopping by.
Hey, it was my pleasure. Good luck to you guys.
There he is.
Roger.
He couldn't let it go.
We
The
have
legendary.
We have clearance.
He did it for us. That's good. That works. There he is. The legend. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with Chuck and Chernoff on 680 The Fan.
All the best.